Welcome back to Mega Man Zero. Last time we had to defend the Resistance base from a big tank that had a name. It was Hittite, which I had to pronounce one more time just so I can get it correctly, because I always pronounce that more as Hittite over like Aid. It's A-I-D-E. But yeah, I don't know why, it's just an Aiden to me, I guess. Anyway, our mission this time. Remember that guy out in the desert? You probably do, because that was, a memorable mission. I wouldn't exactly call it a good mission, but you probably remember it. So, he had to come from somewhere, as I said initially, and it seems that the Resistance has been looking around, and yeah, we've pinpointed the we figured out their base's general location. Pinpoint would assume that we did figure out exactly where it was, though when you see it, it is pretty obvious. This is not some sort of hide-and-seek mission. We're not playing I Spy here in Mega Man Zero. All you gotta do is smash this thing that wasn't here before, and hey! That weird spot on the floor was actually a secret passage. So you'll want to slide down this side because there's a hidden spot right here with a cyber elf. Sneaky. So Ciel's gotta do everything. Unfortunately for her, she's kind of our all-in-one mission control, even though she's got research to do. But yeah, she's gotta disable traps as well as give us general guidance. You know, we had to have more than one navigator on staff towards the end of the X series. Poor Ciel's just doing this all alone. Anyway though, this is a relatively simple mission. Eventually we'll be rescuing people, but until that we have a distinct set piece, but it's, you know, just kind of, straightforward. It's ice, it goes on for a bit. You can go all the way to the end to get an extra life. I forget if I wasted the time to do that. But I did actually want to get to my talking points today, which is past games. And I more mean, like, I guess characterization in the X series, not so much the X series itself. There is very clearly that something that happened between the X series and the Zero series, but we're not privy to that information yet. We'll figure that out later. Zero's got amnesia, so whatever happened before, it's a mystery. But yeah, now we're going around rescuing people. Simple enough to smash the gates open, so we pretty much just have to check everywhere and rescue the people, and that's how you do the mission. Anyway though, right, so, yeah, we don't know exactly what happens detail-wise between games, so I more wanted to talk about characterization. I want to briefly touch upon Command Mission, because now I can finally mention, I think the major reason that the Dregs of Giga City line kind of rubs me the wrong way in that game is, I don't know, that's just really not Zero-like to me. Now granted, Zero can definitely be prickly in this game, and certainly he has far more ellipses here than he did in any of the X games, but this game starts with him waking up from just a dead sleep, just comatose, sealed away in a lab. And that would be bad enough as is, but he also has amnesia. And despite this, the moment someone pleads for help, he picks up the nearest gun and just starts firing, so I don't know. I don't like the characterization of, oh yeah, Zero got betrayed by one guy and now he's just unwilling to work with other people. He's been betrayed already. Vile was a betrayal. They used to be on the same team, and I know it was kind of obvious how Vile turned out. I don't think anybody... I'm not falling for that one. I don't think anybody was surprised by that, but... yeah, the whole Shadow thing, I don't feel really fits. Again, Zero, definitely the broody type in this game, but... not somebody who would abandon people in need. The main thing I want to talk about, though, is X7. So, playing X7, I mentioned that, nobody really liked his characterization in that game. I kind of appreciate it, but... nope. I think the biggest problem is there was no on or off ramp to it, like... there was no lead into it in X6, and there's no lead out of it. By the end of X7, he's still kind of a jerk to Axel, but then come X8, he's just normal again. But I feel like X7 was absolutely just them kind of writing a prelude to what if X was the villain? Because throughout the game we had X who was... how do I put this again? Like, he kind of stopped believing in the goodness of Reploids, and so he became stubbornly pacifistic, but also super judgy of criminals. And I think this game is kind of a follow-through of that idea, because now we have, you know, X in the seat of power at Neo Arcadia, and now all this is happening. Anyway, quick break of talking about that to talk about this guy. You must be Zero. It's me, I'm the best one. Nobody's better than I am. That's because I hug myself for warmth every time I start a fight. It helps keep my blood flowing. So anyway, yeah, Blizzak Stagroth. I'd like to say he's an easy boss, and he should be. I used to have an easy time with him, but I don't know what it was. I had a bad time with him. I guess it's just kind of the quickness of his attacks. You want to keep kind of close to him so you can avoid the icicle attacks like that and get back in for some more stabs, but yeah, whenever he does that, like, big ice beam attack, initially that does not do damage, but if you get hit by these snowflakes, that will actually slow you down by quite a bit and also lower your jump heights, so it makes it harder to move around. If he has his EX attack, however, once you pass the HP threshold, instead of snowflakes, you just get icicles, which just do damage. That being said, I think the original version of that attack slows you down enough that it's pretty likely you're going to be hit, but yeah, no, I don't know what it was. He just kind of blindsided me repeatedly with a lot of his attacks. They're very sudden, but in most cases I would think he's a pretty easy boss. I don't know, maybe it's because I wasn't using the Z-Saber. Oh, and this is actually where this conversation comes up. I forgot where it happened, but yeah. Ciel mentions that she's doing research and that she's actually trying to find a substitute energy source. Even the manual doesn't touch on this a lot, but it definitely isn't really brought up before this point in the main game. One of the big reasons that Neo Arcadia is the way it is because of an energy crisis. Things are kinda going poorly, and as it turns out, Reploids are the scapegoat of the day, unfortunately. You know, despite the fact that all these pantheons probably are a considerable power draw as well. Not to mention that Neo Arcadia does have Reploids that they actively employ to kill people. Pretty sure that takes energy, but of course they are kind of the big empire. Anybody living within Neo Arcadia is just given propaganda and they go, oh, Reploids, they're taking too much energy? Don't appreciate that. It's good that they're vanishing randomly then. Anyway, time to go about my day. You know, that sort of thing. So yeah, we have Ciel who's here to develop an alternate energy source, and hopefully that fixes everything. Hopefully that's not just naive. You know, evil empires, they're always so easy to deal with and make good, sensible decisions. Let's not think about that, though. Let's not doom scroll just yet. But yeah, I just definitely wanted to mention that, because that's a pretty important plot point right there. That's the entire reason we're in this position. We're also going to pick up the shield boomerang. Oh, sorry, did I cut ahead of you, Servo? Yeah, I really cut you off there. The shield boomerang is important because it is the only weapon in this game that starts with the ability to fully charge. It kinda needs it because, true to its name, while it does act as a shield when you hold it, as it charges, if it reaches its full charge, you can throw it as a projectile. Anyway though, right, so, almost the end of the episode, but I just want to mention real quick, the other thing that kind of links X7 to this game is, of course, the ending for Zero, where he has a dream in which X is talking about eliminating Mavericks and then points his Buster at him. That also pretty significant. I think Capcom was kind of really trying to lead into this game. In general, they were desperately trying to move on to the Zero series and some of the ends of those X games, as you may recall. And speaking of endings, this is the end of this episode of Mega Man Zero. Next time, we meet a pretty significant character, actually.